Welcome back to Academy Lanes in Haverhill, Massachusetts for another match from the Pro Series Ultimate Ladder. In this match, Dan Gothier is facing Mike Kustak. This is the first match of the final ladder, and Dan Gauthier is underway, and he begins with a spare. He will move over to the left lane and fill in that spare. And Dan misses the head pin, but almost gets a strike out of it. He's got everything but the head pin. So he will, that's not a break until you take advantage, so he'll try and make this spare, and he's got it. So Dan, or Shu as we call him, is off to a quick start with two spares. He's got 29 plus a ball. After two, and I'll bring up Mike Kustak. Mike, as you probably recall, has won one of these Pro Series events last year. He's a guy that has put up some pretty big scores on occasion. And Mike begins with a 6 drop. He's looking at the 3, 5, 6, and 10. Makeable spare leave. And he hits it pretty well, but just a little bit too thin on the 3 pin. Doesn't get the 6, so Mike will be open in the first box. And he'll take a 10. He covers that 6 pin. Mike is probably the high bowler wearing rental shoes in this field. And he throws a strike in the second box, and that was there was just no doubt about that. Have another look at this one. Pretty clear cut. What's going to happen here? High solid 1-3 pocket hit, and that doesn't take long to go down. So Mike Kustak has a strike in the second, and he needs that to keep the pace with Dan Gauthier. You don't want to let your opponent run away in a 1-string match. Shu with a 6 drop. He's got the diamond on the right side, 3, 5, 6, and 9. Piece of wood to the left of the 3 pin, and it's out close to the edge of the pin deck. I don't know what it's going to do. He missed it. He just hit the wood, didn't get anywhere near the 3 pin, so he'll be open in the third box. The 6 fill on the spare gives him 35 after 2. And Dan will record a 9 in the third box, so he has 44 through the third. Dan, as you I'm sure know, is one of the prime movers on the kids show, Candlepin New Generation. That show is always a lot of fun. I've had some involvement with it myself, and it's always a great time. And he is looking at the 7, 9, and 10. Several pieces of wood out in front of the 9. This might have some possibilities. And he's got it. Wood comes off the wall, takes out the 9 and 10. Let's have another look at it. I think there are 2 pieces of wood there. And you can see what happened there. He did a good job covering all 3 pins. So Mike Kustak has got his hands full here. He needs a good fill on this strike and needs to keep going. And just 3 on the first ball, so he's got needs to get as many as he can. Just 6, so he's going to be open in the third. 26 through the second. And Mike Kustak will take an 8 in the third. So right now it's a 10-pin lead for Van Gothier through 3, 44 to 34. Mike Kustak with a nice 1-3 pocket hit. He's got the 5, 8, 9, 2 or 3 pieces of wood that might be pretty tricky. And you can see right there, he kind of hit the cap, and got the 5 and 9, but not the 8. So that'll be a 10 box. And Shu with a 7 drop. He's got 61 through the fourth, so that makes it a 17-pin lead. Through 4. See if he can convert this triangle. Doesn't do it. He had the 3, 5, and 6. Missed the 3-pin on the right, so he will be open in the 5th. And that's the ball he wanted. That's a 10 box. Shu with a 71. Here's a look at the scoreboard. As you can see, 17-pin lead in as far as the completed frames are concerned. 61 to 44 through the 4th, and that 10 box in the 5th. And he kind of throws a little bit of a pitch out there on the left side. Just takes out the 4, 7, 8. Still makeable leave though. They're all in a bunch, not a split. And hits the head pin, second ball, but a little too full. So he leaves the 2 and 6. He'll be open in the 6th. That'll give Mike Kustak a chance to make up some ground. If he can put a couple of marks together, he could get right back in the match. That's a 9 box, gives Shu 80 through 6. Mike Kustak with 44 through 4. And he punches out half Worcester left in the 5th. Not what he wanted to do, but this is not by any means an impossible lead. And that's a pretty good bid right there. A little bit thin in the 1-3 pocket hit. Got the head pin to go to the sidewall. But still left with the 5 and 10. A couple pieces of wood. And that'll be a 10 box. So it's still a 17-pin lead because of the 10 that Shu had in the 5th. So Mike is getting to where it's... And there's a solid head pin hit, but he punches through the middle. So that's not going to help him make up any ground. He's going to have to work this out. And that is a nice bid by Mike Kustak. He made a run at converting that spread eagle plus the 9 pin. He wasn't able to get the 2 and 4. So he will have it past the 10 box. And that's what it'll be. So 16-pin lead. Or a 16-pin lead. Because Shu had a 9 box in the 6th. And Shu is back up on the right lane in the 7th box. And he has that same triangle, 3, 5, 6, with kind of the same wood that he had on the diamond leaf a little bit earlier. So I don't think, from this angle, it looks like the wood is an obstacle, but it might not be from over there. But in any case, he goes a little bit too far to the left and kicks the 3-pin around the 6. So it'll be an open box in the 7. And he covers it for 10, which is what you need to do when you have the lead. Just cover your sticks and force the other guy to make a run at you. Nice ball by Shu in the 8th box. He has an 8 drop and 5-9 with a couple of pieces of wood, and I think there's a third piece of wood behind that 9 pin. It's just barely on the back of the on the edge on the back of the deck. See if he can push these pieces of wood back into the 5-9, and it doesn't go. That second piece of wood went right around the 9 pin. Pretty good solid hit by Shu. I kind of expected it to go back and get the 9 pin, especially with that other piece of wood behind it, which you would think it might have spun around and got it. But in any case, it's a 10 box, and Shu has got 100 even after 8. Mike Kustak with an opportunity to make up some ground, 64 through 6, and he kind of has to at this point. He's down by 16, and with only 4 boxes to go. He's got the 4-7-9 with a couple pieces of wood out front. See if he can find a way to convert this lead. And that actually, there might have been, it sounded as though there were more than 2 pieces of wood. That might have been a double wood plus another one. And that really didn't do much for him. The wood kind of went side to side, and nothing went back to get the 7 pin. So he will take a 10, but that really doesn't help him. Still down by 16. 74 through 7. And Mike, once again, is on the head pin, and again, he doesn't have much to show for it. He really kind of had a tough time getting much to look at. This time he has a, well, it's a pretty makeable leave with that piece of wood behind the 2 pin. He's got the 2-4-10. It could go if he, maybe if he hits the 2 pin. And it does not go, and he can't believe it. That was kind of, that was sort of plan A for how to make that shot. So he had to figure that wood was likely to go back, go over and get the 10, but it didn't do it. That's going to be a 9 box. It went, ball went the gutter. So that's, as you can see on the scoreboard, Dan Gothier has a 17-pin lead with 2 boxes to go. So he's in pretty good shape, although, as we know, Mike Kustak certainly has the ability to put some strikes together. Shu with a 7 drop. He's got 3, 5, and 7. You can see that piece of wood that's just about perpendicular to the lane behind the 3. And then there is another piece of wood back there. And he's got it, and I think it might have been that second piece of wood behind the 5 pin that spun around and went over to get the 7. So that's really going to put him in a good position here with the 17-pin lead plus the mark. And is that going to go? It does. That's a strike, and that's pretty much going to do it. Let's take another look. That's a 10 fill on the spare in the 9th. So that gives him 120 through the 9th plus the strike in the 10th. So that's probably going to be more than Mike Kustak can make. And there's another strike. So that's really kind of running up the score a little bit, which is what you always want to try to do. Anyhow, it's just a 2 drop on the last ball, but it doesn't really matter too much. Dan with an excellent 142 string. So unless Mike Kustak can put 4 strikes in a row together, Shu is going to move on to the next round. And that's what will happen as Mike drops 7. And another nice bid there, but it still doesn't go. He's really had some tough breaks in this game. Really bowled a pretty creditable string in terms of the ball he's throwing, but hasn't had much to show for it. So he's going to record. I think that will give him a 5th place finish in the ultimate ladder. Still a pretty good payday for him. Mike will record a spare in the 10th box, and he'll have one more ball to complete the string. So he will get a nice check, and also quite a few points in the Bowler of the Year standings. But Dan Gothier will move on to the next round, and we'll take a look at the scoreboard. Shu with a 142 to 111 win over Mike Kustak.